Hey, what's up, YouTube family? It's your favorite black guy from Nebraska, and this is content. The second piece of content I'm dropping today. All right, second piece. I'm not doing too much at work. We're not busy, so I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and drop some more content on their head since they're loving this stuff so much. This is going to be a short piece of. It's not going to be long. It's going to be just right, you know. And we are still in chapter. Are we still in chapter 7? I don't think we're in chapter 7. Or are we? I think we're in chapter 6. But this is a part of chapter 6 where we talk about European immigration, and we kind of get a better understanding on how so many foreigners and immigrants came beforehand. This is in the late 1700s to 1800s. Okay, so we want to get a better understanding of how all these different individuals, different nationalities ended up over here. And you're going to see the cost of it and the impact of it that was felt then, and the impact is still felt today. So I'm glad you guys are giving me so much positive affirmations in the comment section. And I looked at my subscribers. Man, my subscribers went up like, I'm gonna say like 20 to 30 subscribers just out of nowhere. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time out to subscribe. And you're listening to me when I say like, share, and subscribe. You guys are really doing it. So, and YouTube is they hold me down for right now. They throwing me in the algorithm. You know what I mean? They let me get a little piece of the pie. So, and I don't do this for money. I do this for information. I know, and I do this for the people who are like-minded, who enjoy this stuff just like I do, who love enjoying or love finding. You know, this is like gold to me. You know, when you go to like a thrift store or a Goodwill, and you find something good, and you know that feeling that you get. That's the same feeling I get when I go on free websites like archive.org and I find information just like this that's just hidden, that nobody's, really concerned or worried about. And then I unfold it and I bring it to the masses, and you guys are loving it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, this part of the book is called Mass European Immigration to the United States, 1790 to 1849. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to read in this part of the book, you're going to be able to find stuff that, is relatable content that I've already dropped, that can be referred to in this book in my earlier videos. Like we're going to talk about the Black Irish. Okay. We're going to talk about a couple other things that you'll be able to find in my posts and also in my earlier content. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Mass European immigration, ? Based on available records between 1790 and 1820, a total of 8,385, with immigration totals gradually increasing to 23,322 by the year 1830. For the 1820s decade, immigration more than doubled to 143,000 between 1831 and 1840. Immigration more than quadrupled to a total of 599,000. These included about 207,000 Irish starting to immigrate in large numbers following Britain's easing of travel restrictions, and about 150,000 Germans, 70,000 plus British, and 50,000 plus French, constituting the next largest immigrant groups of the decade. Between 1841 and 1850, immigration nearly tripled again, totaling 1,713,000 immigrants. The Irish, driven by the potato famine 1845 to 1849, immigrated directly from their homeland to escape poverty and death. The failed revolutions of 1848 bring thousands of Irish to exile in the United States. Not to forget the so-called Black Irish, not Black Irish figuratively, but Black Irish literally, who were brought to Montserrat Island in the West Indies as slave labor after they were banished from Ireland, who still live and practice their Irish culture today. I have content on a book called Whence Go the Black Irish of Jamaica. Whence Come the Black Irish of Jamaica in my videos. Check that out. It's a lot of good information in there. They mention that. Poor and impoverished conditions in Europe drove people out, while freedom from royal servitude, opportunity, and jobs in the U.S. lured them in, at the expense of the indigenous population, who at this time has been reclassified as Negroes, coloreds, and mulattoes. By late 1800s, people in many parts of the world, majority being from Europe, decided to leave their homes and immigrate to the United States. fleeing crop failure, land and job shortages, rising taxes, and famine. Many came to the United States because it was perceived as the land of economic opportunity. Sounds familiar, it's just like today. Others came seeking personal freedom or relief from political and religious persecution. Between 1870 and 1900, nearly 12 million immigrants arrived in the United States during the 1870s and 1880s. The vast majority of these people were from Germany, Ireland, and England. The principal sources of immigration before the Civil War, that would change drastically in the next 3 decades. So the immigration crisis that's going on right now, like I said, it's nothing new under the sun. This stuff has happened before. It's just a repeat. Only within 15 years, the number reached up to 30 million Europeans arriving in the United States by 1915. Y'all, 30 million. That's a lot. Immigrants entered the United States through several ports. Those from Europe generally came through East Coast facilities, while some from Asian countries generally entering through West Coast centers. More than 70% of all immigrants entered through New York City, which came to be known as the Golden Door. Throughout the 1800s, most immigrants arriving in New York entered at the Castle Garden Depot near the tip of Manhattan. In 1892, the federal government opened a new immigration processing center on Ellis Island in New York Harbor. Although immigrants often settled near ports of entry, a large number did find their way inland. Many states, especially those with sparse populations, actively sought to extract European immigrants by offering jobs of free land for farming if you were a free white male. Later, after all indentured whites were freed from contractual servitude by Lincoln, who signed the final Emancipation Proclamation Bill, which also included the southern states only because they couldn't free the whites without freeing the already enslaved so-called poor Negroes prior. Plantations in the South were forced to free the slave-born children, captured during all the wars, who were being sent from the North and the West Indies into the southern plantations, whose families had been enslaved up to 2 and 3 generations. This gave them rights to take land that was currently occupied by the Indigenous, who they now refer to as Negroes, colored, and mulattoes. So not only being reclassified from Indigenous American to Negroes, colors, and mulattoes, but that also gave way to European immigrants to come over here and get free land. There's just a video out here right before Martin Luther King was assassinated, where Martin Luther King was talking about how the government was giving free land to immigrants, free loans, teaching them how to farm, and also giving them land grants, and also giving them, going to college for free. So when they say black people or the indigenous population need to lift themselves up by their own bootstraps, well, you're telling us to do that, but many of you didn't do that. So you're telling us to do something that you guys didn't do. So it's amazing. So let's go ahead and go to the next page. This is going to be the last page, but like I said, we already went through a lot of information, and I'm sure a lot of you have already learned something, and by reading this, I've learned something as well. So let's go ahead and finish it up. Today, we are taught that millions of slaves were brought into the United States between 1800 and 1900s in what are called slave ships, though through New York, but between 1800 and 1910, almost 30 million plus Europeans were flooding in cramped ships. By the late 1800s, Europeans started to build bigger cruise liners to bring more people in one ride. This is why the numbers increased dramatically late, nearing the end of 1910. For example, the Titanic was also one of those ships bringing European immigrants into the United States. Today, you can find countless photos of European immigrants being flooded into the newly found United States between these years, since camera technology came into use by the 1830s. But you will not find one image of boatloads of slaves in a time we are told was the highest point of the slave trade, and even shown in the supposed slave census we broke down earlier. Most of these immigrants were indentured servants, locked into contracts for a certain period of time as later payment for free travels to the Americas. Many would make their way to 5 Points and surrounding areas, which were at the time known as all Negro communities, before being forced out by incoming immigrants and the United States government. So you can see into the communities in my city. There's communities where they're all black people. You see an influx of the same thing going on. You see a little bit of everybody from other countries, and you're seeing less black people. So, like I said, I'll go back to saying this, man. It's as cliche as it sounds, but it's the truth. There's nothing new under the sun. They're doing the same thing again. It's happening all over again. The same way how immigrants are coming over here from other countries and they're being put right in the middle of all black neighborhoods and all black areas. It's happening again, and you're seeing a repeat of it. So history repeats itself a lot. And it's just very ironic, the fact that a lot of people want to say, oh, you guys came over here on ships, but we have picture evidence of you guys coming over here on ships recently, like within the last, century or a century and a half or 2 centuries. You guys came over here on ships, but you want to tell us that we came over here on ships. Interesting. So we're going to go on the last page. The next page is going to be the last page, and it's just a picture. So let's go ahead and get to the last page. All right, guys, this is the last page of this part of the chapter. It's just more information, more picture evidence of mass immigration of Europeans coming over here by boat. Just like they said we did. We came over here by boat. One thing I learned was that the Titanic was a boat that was used to bring migrants over here. They built bigger boats, cruise liners, to bring migrants over here. And also, the civil rights movement, you know who benefited more from the civil rights movement than we did? Immigrants. But a lot of these immigrants, they come over here and they have a specific attitude towards you, towards black people. And I find it interesting that, well, if it wasn't for the things that we fought for, you guys wouldn't have the things that you have. But I don't want to make generalizations. I'm not saying that all immigrants are the same. Just like I don't want nobody to call me and say all black people are the same. I'm not. But I'm just speaking on topics. I'm speaking on things that I've experienced and things that I know to be true. I will say this: everybody deserves to be judged by their character and not the way they look. But I just wanted to speak on things that are out there. I wanted to speak on certain truths and certain attitudes that people have and certain ways that people think when it comes to us. This chapter wasn't long. I mean, it wasn't short. This part of the chapter wasn't long, but it's packed in information, man. This book is a must-have, man. It's sad that you can't get a physical copy of it, but, we always on our phones. And you can go to archive.org. It's probably an app for it, and you can pull the same stuff up, man. And just in case somebody wants to, learn and actually understand real history, not history that was, taught by a corporation for a specific purpose. And that was to, not necessarily get the truth out there, but to create an inferiority and a superiority complex with certain individuals. So it's your favorite black guy from Nebraska. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, share, subscribe. Please continue like, sharing, and subscribing, and I will continue dropping this heat. All right. God bless. See you guys on the next one. Peace.